Hey everybody, Cool Trainer Rob here. In this video, I wanted to discuss a topic I think is very important in today's Pokemon marketplace. That topic is how to collect Pokemon on a budget, and I thought it might be useful for me to share some tips and advice that could help make and keep collecting Pokemon sustainable and enjoyable. I know at the time of this video, there's a lot of hype and scalping going on, and I could completely understand how the average collector can feel upset by this. But I think if you follow some of the advice in this video, you'll find yourself focusing less on the things you dislike in the hobby and focusing more on the things you love. I also want to clarify, this isn't a guide on how to make money off of Pokemon. If that's what you're looking for, this video isn't for you. It's more about enjoying this hobby when your funds are limited and being happy with your collection overall. This brings me to point number 1. Focus on what you like. For me, what I'm passionate about in this hobby isn't always what's popular. I do my best to remember what cards, sets, and promos mean something to me personally and keep focused on collecting those things. I think a lot of people in the hobby, especially now, have tunnel vision on what is generating a ton of hype and attention. I think everyone in the Pokemon card collecting community should ask themselves this question: would I care about this card if it weren't for the hype and the financial value? Think long and hard about this question and be honest with yourself. If the answer is no, then maybe it's not a card that deserves your attention or your money. I understand that part of the appeal of a certain card might be that it holds certain significant financial value, but that should never be your complete motivation for buying something. If your sole motivating factor behind buying a particular card is because of its cost, then you might find yourself disappointed if the price drops in the future. I'd also like to express that the collectibles marketplace as a whole is a very volatile place, and because of this, the risk of your cards losing value at some point is probable. If you purchase something because it holds a significance to you beyond price, then that's a lasting effect that you can enjoy despite what the market says. I think that's a good segue into point number 2, and point number 2 is shop around. I've always been a big fan of eBay, but they don't always have the best pricing. There's other websites you can try, like Mercari, TCG Player, and even the Facebook Marketplace. For example, I purchased a Wizards of the Coast Black Star promo card today on eBay. The price there was $30 for this particular card, and I purchased it with little hesitation. It was only afterward that I had checked TCG Player and found out that I could have saved $5 on this card. Now, I know $5 may not seem like a lot of money, but when you're buying a lot of cards, these small savings add up and can become significant. Additionally, if your budget is very limited, that savings might be a big deal. I don't think this would be a well-rounded discussion without also mentioning that you should learn the ins and outs of each marketplace you're purchasing from. Each one of these marketplaces and websites is a little different than the other, and there may be things to know in order to find success with using it. For instance, many times TCG Player listings don't feature photos of the actual card you're purchasing. So be sure to read the listing thoroughly so you aren't disappointed with the condition of the card upon its arrival. I'd also suggest the same for eBay, as some sellers will use misleading titles and photos in their listings, and that can be troublesome. It's also good to become familiar with your local game shops and other stores that sell Pokemon in your area. I know most people are already aware of stores like Target and Walmart, but did you know that stores like Best Buy, Party City, Michaels, Burlington, and Fred Meyer's carry Pokemon cards? The stores in my area do, and it's honestly a bit of an open secret. You may also have a lot of luck at dollar stores too. Many dollar stores carry mini booster packs that contain 3 cards. While that may sound like it isn't much, it may be the only it may be the only course some Pokemon trainers can take in order to acquire cards for a good price. I do want to put this disclaimer out there. Some people will go into dollar stores and they will weigh out the packs to find the packs that have foils. This is a risk you may have to take when purchasing dollar store packs. I will take a firm stance on this. I feel that is unethical behavior. However, there isn't much that you or I can do to stop it, so go into this purchase knowing that you might be buying a weighed pack. Hopefully that's not the case though. Point number 3 is find cards that are overlooked. And what I mean by that is the things that aren't necessarily being hyped at the particular moment. It should be said that rule number 1 still applies. Collect it if you like it. But if you know of cards that you consider to be cool, unique, or fun, but don't get much attention, chances are a lot of other people might feel the same way about these same cards. A prime example here are full art trainer cards. Up until just recently, these cards sold for very cheap. I felt they were very cool, my personal favorites being the Jesse and James full art and Giovanni's Exile, both from Hidden Fates. So if you felt the same way I did about full art trainer cards and had been collecting and holding on to them all this time, you'd have been ahead of the curve. As many of you know, recently full art trainer cards have started to command a premium price. It's also possible for you to find cards that were hyped up in the past for a little bit less while everyone else has their attention focused on the next big thing. Right now, that seems to be the special delivery Pikachu. And in my opinion, while everybody has their attention on full art trainers and special delivery Pikachu, it might be a time to go out and look for that special Japanese promo card that you've been wanting to buy for the last couple of months. I've found great deals on very desirable cards due to the attention of the market being hyper-focused on what's hot at the moment and not what I was shopping for at the moment. So moving on to point number 4, or rule number 4 of my video, and it might be a little controversial, but avoid buying mystery boxes. I'm not a fan of mystery boxes of any kind, and I apologize if you're somebody that makes a lot of money or makes any money by selling mystery boxes. I just don't think that they're typically a good value. I think everybody should understand that mystery boxes aren't put together and sold to benefit the buyer. They're put together to benefit the seller. Are some better than others? Sure. Can you expect to come out on top financially when you buy them? Not usually. Personally, when I'm working with limited funds, I prefer to know exactly what my money is going to be buying me. I know the temptation of mystery boxes can be powerful, but you should accept before spending the money that you may come away disappointed in what you get. If you're okay with taking that risk, then by all means, do your thing, buy those boxes. However, I try to limit any and all opportunities for disappointment in this hobby, and I've been successful in doing so by purchasing what I'm passionate about, knowing what I'm getting for my money, and shopping around for the best price. Point number 5. It's admittedly not always possible depending on the person, but this point is check your local stores often. Now, this advice relies heavily on you knowing your area. Where I live, the shelves get cleaned up pretty regularly and pretty quickly, but I've had a lot of success in finding desirable modern product by being vigilant and checking frequently. I stop into the big box stores regularly and check the shelves to see what's for sale. I'm gonna be honest, I don't find much most of the time. However, the times that I do find product on the shelves has made up for the failures, as it means I get to buy something at MSRP, and considering the marketplace is chock full of people selling items that are still found on the shelves at stores for above MSRP, this is a great way to collect relatively affordably. I've been fortunate enough to purchase plenty of Champion's Path, Hidden Fates, and more at MSRP simply because I was vigilant and frequently checked my local stores. I know this advice not be for everyone, Not everyone has the means to travel to said stores with regularity, and your experiences may depend heavily on the region you live in and how many other trainers are on the hunt in that area. So, if you can, just keep your eyes peeled, and I really hope that works out for you, because being able to buy something at MSRP is pretty powerful, and it's unfortunately a rarity in the hobby that we're in today. This brings me to my second to last point, which is point number 6. Pre-order what you can when you can. Or pre-order what you want when you can. I think that's a better way to put that. I know keeping up with constant pre-orders can be difficult and cumbersome, but you'll have to learn to prioritize what you can afford versus what you want. But the best way to get desirable items at MSRP is to pre-order them when you can. You should only pre-order from vendors you trust, obviously. I've seen some vendors offering pre-orders, and then they get allocated way less product than they expected. Those are unfortunate situations. This results in a lot of customers finding themselves with canceled pre-orders and no other opportunities to get items at a reasonable sum, as it's already too late by the time they find out their pre-order's been canceled. I personally never pre-order items via eBay due to personal preference, and I've heard of really bad experiences where either the pre-order is canceled or the seller tries to take off with your pre-order funds because it's been a certain amount of time and they think that they don't have to refund you after a certain amount of time. Just know this isn't the case. eBay will still have your back in those scenarios, but I wouldn't want to risk it. I prefer to use larger and dependable vendors like Plaza Japan, the Pokemon Center, and even GameStop I've had success with. Though it should be known that any vendor could cancel pre-orders with it being no real fault of their own. It's happened to me even with my favorite retailers. You can combat this by remembering rule number 2, shopping around. If you pre-order with a few different vendors, you can still get your hands on product even if some pre-orders get canceled. Diversifying where you're buying your product, it can kind of help with this. For example, if I wanted to pre-order some Shining Fates, I could go to my favorite online retailer and pre-order a couple of things. I also pre-ordered a couple of things through GameStop, and this would help me mitigate disappointment if GameStop happened to cancel my pre-orders or get less than I had pre-ordered. I would have other avenues of receiving this product. So, this is my last rule. This is number 7. It's the last bit of advice I've got for you on this video and in this topic, but it's put money aside slowly for big purchases. If you have an expensive card that you feel you just can't live without, you should just be saving up for it slowly. Put small bits of money aside as often as you can afford to. You may have to choose between spending money on cheaper items in the short term and purchasing your bigger items in the long term, but stay on track and don't lose focus. Personally, I utilize this technique all the time, and I have for most of my life for items that are larger purchases. If you stay on course and you budget yourself properly, you'll find yourself saving up the money quicker than you expected to. So, that concludes my list, and I wanted to express a few more things before wrapping up. I'm not a perfect person, and by default, that makes this list not perfect as well. So there's probably a lot more to be said on the topic, and I hope you all can discuss that in the comments section. If you have advice that might help others and advice that's worked for you personally, please, by all means, sound off in the comments section. I think sharing that information is a great thing you can do to help out your fellow enthusiasts, your fellow Pokemon trainers, and I would love to see what your advice and techniques are too. If I see some good advice in the comments section, more than likely I'll make a second video on this very same topic to expand on those concepts. But I've been Cool Trainer Rob. You've all been cool trainers too. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Make sure to hit the like button, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.